All right, hey guys, welcome to video 3. So I'm gonna go over double digit plus and minus double digit. So this is kind of what it looks like. We have a double digit plus a double digit, and then I'll do a subtraction one. So we've been going over those strategy questions and those guiding questions to help our kids with adding and subtracting, mainly subtracting, because I know that that's really a difficult topic for some of our kids to understand. But if they can have those guided questions and those skills to kind of guide them through the problem, 9 times out of 10 it will help them, and it'll make you happy and me happy, and we'll all be happy. So we'll go ahead and start. Of course, you're going to hear the same questions over and over again. I know they're kind of annoying. They annoy me sometimes, but they really help the kids. So here we are with our addition. I tell the kids, adding or subtracting? They say, oh, we're adding. I say, how do you know? They say, our addition sign. I said, okay, everybody circle it with your highlighter. And they'll do that, okay? Then I say, what's the next thing we should do? By this point in the school year, they know my next question, or they should, right? They would say, oh, we label our place values. Perfect, everybody label your place values. So I'll give them a second. They'll sit there. I'll go around and I'll check, and this is what I should see. Okay, normally these boxes are already provided, but in some situations and in some worksheets or activities that we do, they don't provide the boxes. So I really don't want the kids getting used to the boxes because sometimes they're not always there. So we'll introduce them with the boxes, and then as we keep going, I slowly start to take the boxes away. But again, if your kid is like really needing the boxes, then by all means, provide the boxes. But if you feel like your kid can start winging off of using boxes, I prefer to wing them off it, but that's just me. You know your child, you see their progression, you decide that. So I would say, okay, perfect. We have 10s and we have 1s. And then I might throw in a question like, we have no hundreds place? And they're like, no, Mrs. Rains, there's no 100s place. I said, oh, okay, so we just have 1s and we just have 10s. I just kind of like to throw that out there because eventually after this, we will throw in the hundreds place. So I want them to be able to hear about it, okay? That way when I introduce it, it's not like, what in the world, I don't hear crickets or pins dropping, right? They will have said, oh, wait, you asked us about that last week. It's kind of that, kind of getting it into their brains ahead of time, right? Or that foreshadowing. So then I'll ask them, okay, what do we do next? What place value do we always start in? Sometimes they answer, sometimes they already know, okay? They should respond with, we always start in the 1s place. Okay, here we go. What is our 1s place asking us to do? This is where we talk it through using our number sentence. They're wanting us to do 4 plus 5. Okay, I'll have the kids, okay guys, I want you to talk it out. Tell me your number sentence, and also point to it. And I'll come around and you have to show me that you can tell me and point to my number sentence. So normally I would go around each desk and this is what they would do for me. 4 plus 5. Next kid, 4 plus 5. It's a lot, but it's repetition. And the more they hear it, the more they'll remember it, okay? So I'm like, okay, 4 plus 5, what would that look like as a picture? If you already know what 4 plus 5 is, put your answer down. But if you want to draw me a picture, draw me a picture. Some of them will choose to do that, and this is what it'll look like. Easy peasy, nothing big, nothing that takes forever. I tell them if you're gonna draw a picture at this point, you need to be quick, right? Nothing, I don't want little humans, I want little dots, okay? You can do dots, circles, squares, triangles, hearts, whatever floats your boat, okay? And then I'll tell them, okay, what's 4 plus 5? Sometimes they'll go 1, 2, no, they already know that there's 4 there, so we don't need to count these. We punch 4 and count on. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, everybody stop here. We all stop as a class and I say, okay, 9 or less, let it rest. 10 or more, go next door. What are we gonna do? Normally I have the poster hanging up in our classroom. I can send you a picture of the poster if you wanna print it off. I'll do that and attach it to the video. Okay, 9 or more, let it rest. I'm sorry, 9 or less, let it rest. 10 or more, go next door. What are we gonna do? I'll take a vote. If you think we should let it rest, raise your hand. Tell me why. They have to explain it, okay? They're going to let it rest. Then I would say, okay, little Sally, why are we letting it rest? Well, Mrs. Rains, it's 9 or 9 or less, let it rest. And this is 9, so that still counts for our rule. Perfect, little Sally, you are correct. All right, guys, now we're done with our ones place. Where do we go now? Some of them say we're done. No, we're not. Where do we go next? The tens. Someone will holler out, and I say, yes, the tens place. We have finished our ones, but now it's time to go to the tens. So let's go over. What are they wanting us to do in the tens place? What's our number sentence? Again, we're going to touch and talk. 3 plus 2. Everybody, touch and talk. 3 plus 2. You're touching the numbers and you're talking it out. 3 plus 2. Draw me a picture if you don't know what it is. Perfect. Okay, now let's add them together. 3, 4, 5. Boom. And we're done. Okay, now let's look at this problem from a subtraction standpoint. So I'm going to use the same numbers. I'm going to use the same questions, except this time it'll be subtraction. Okay, so I'll say, are we adding or subtracting? We're subtracting. Perfect. Circle it or highlight it. Whatever they prefer to do, whatever helps them notice it, that's what they can do. All right, let's label our work. Tens and ones with our boxes. Perfect. What place value do we always start in? Little Johnny. Johnny says we always start in the ones place. Perfect, Johnny. What are they wanting us to do? He says they're wanting us to do 4 minus 5. Okay? And then I'll ask the kids, everybody, what number can we put on our hand? 4 or 5? Most of them should say our top number, 4. Okay, everybody hold up 4. Now take away 5 fingers. They still sometimes look oddly confused. Okay, guys, you can't take away 5 fingers when you're only holding up 4, right? So what do we have to do? They should say, we have to go next door and borrow from the tens. Very good. And then I might say, hey, is this just a regular 3? Or does this 3 actually stand for a bigger number? Some of them will say it's just 3. That's okay because we're still learning, right? And then I would say, well, let's draw a picture, right? This is 34. That means it's 30 plus 4. We'll do expanded form real quick. So I'm like, is that really just a 3? They're like, no, that's 30. And I'm like, perfect. Let's do our little 10 rods. So we'll draw little 10 rods. We draw 3 of them because the number is 30, 10, 20, 30. Each rod we can count by 3 or by tens. So then I'll say, okay, we've got to take one of these 10 rods and we've got to go put it over here. Whoops. In the ones place to help because we only have 4 apples and they want to take 5 away. We can't do that. So then they're like, okay, well, let's take the middle one. They like to pick the complicated one to take, right? So then we'll color it in because that's the one we're taking. And I'm like, okay, remember, friends, there are 2 ways to do this. Which way did you like to do it? Some of them will say, we liked the first way. I'm like, okay, if you like the first way, keep looking at the board. Everybody else put your head down if you don't like the way that we did it the first time last week. Okay, so they'll put their head down. I'm like, okay, so then this crosses out, this cancels the 4. So we have 4 plus 10 because we're adding that 10 rod to the 4, which makes it 14. Sometimes that works for the kids. Some of them can understand that, but some of them don't get it. It confuses them. So I'm like, okay, if you don't like that way, put your head down. Everybody look up, and I'm like, now we're going to do the second way that we learned last week, okay? And they're like, okay, Miss Raines. All right, I'm like, we have our 10 rod. Where do we put it? They say in front of the 4. Very good. I'll say, what's my new number? They'll say 14. It's the same number as before, except this way clicks in their head. I'm happy with it. Okay, guys, so now we can't hold the number 14 up on our hands, right? That's way too many. We might have to use our toes. But they want us to take away 5. Can we do that? They're like, yes, Miss Raines, because that top number is bigger. So now we have enough for them to take 5 away. And then they really start counting on their fingers and their toes. I'm like, nuh-uh. We punch 5 and count up to 14. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How many fingers am I holding up? 9. Perfect. Okay, so then I ask them, same question as before. 9 or less, let it rest. 10 or more, go next door. They say, oh, we're going to let it rest. I say, why? Because it's 9 or less. Perfect. I love it. You gave me a reason. I'll take it. I say, are we done? They go, no, Mrs. Rains. I said, oh, guys, I see a problem with our math problem. I said, let's look at our tens place. It still says 3. No one told me to cross that out. Remember, we had 3, but we had to take one of the 10 rods and add it to the ones. And they're like, oh, Miss Rains, you messed up. I'm like, well, see what happens when we don't cross out our numbers, when we don't show our work? This is what happens when we don't show our work, because I was ready to do 3 minus 2. But that's not the right answer. 3 is no longer available because 3 became 2. So what's 2 minus 2? They go, 2 minus 2. We can't do that. I said, why not? Hold up 2 fingers. Take away 0. So how many fingers you got? They say 2. I'm like, there's your answer. Oh, I'm so sorry. I messed that up. I was thinking of the last problem. See, even I make mistakes. Hold up 2 fingers. Now take 2 away. How many you got? They go, I got 2. I said, no. Hold up 2 fingers. Now take 2 of them away. 1, 2. Oh, I got none. I said, so if you have none left, what's the number? They go 0. I said, okay, you can put 0 or you can just leave it blank. It's up to you. So our answer is 9. Okay? All right, that is it for the double digit plus and subtraction double digit. The next video will be over 3 digit.